All right, Mike, well, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you.
So, don't think twice. Why don't we just start off, basically, give me a brief, what is this movie about, and what made you want to make this particular movie, this particular story?
Sure. It's Don't Think Twice it's sort of a big chill comedy set in the world of an improv comedy theater that has just lost its lease and it's closing, and so they're these best friends in this improv group, the Commune, are forced to make decisions about sort of what's the next chapter of their life going to look like, and some people have opportunities to get on like a one person on Saturday Night Live type of show, and other people are dealing with sort of I don't know, without giving anything away, just like different life decisions.
Sure. And one thing I loved about the movie was the dynamic of some of the characters. There's a lot in there about how an improv team is a team.
Yeah.
But there's also a lot of eyes in this team.
Yes.
A lot of them are kind of really interested in their self-interest.
Sure.
And I thought it was interesting with your character, Miles, when Jack kind of does get his bigger break from the group, you react kind of really poorly to that. But my question was, like, if that was Miles, like, getting the break, he would have not thought twice about it. Is that right?
Yeah, and that's an astute observation, and it's something that people don't often pick up on, is this idea of the title in some ways is a reference to the way in which when people break up, in this case like a group breaking up from each other, there is some sense of they don't think twice about the other people. They're kind of like moving on and figuring out what their thing is. I mean, when I was writing it, one of the phrases I wrote on my wall on a 3x5 was, "Art is socialism, but life is capitalism." And no one says that line in the movie because it'd be too on the nose, but it's sort of what it's about.
And in terms of improv, too, like how. There's some references in the movie, too, about how this is sort of like a fleeting art form or a dying art form.
Yes. Not a dying art form, but an art form that happens in the moment and it disappears.
Yeah. So my question with you that is with trying to capture and bottle that in a movie.
Yeah, in a film, yeah.
Yeah.
It seems antithetical to what the form is.
Exactly. What were the challenges there?
Yeah, well, you just have to I mean, our goal was to shoot it in a way that puts you into the experience of being on stage. Mm-hmm. That's why we shot at Steadicam, and we had the camera operator in some ways was like the seventh member of the Commune, where he was kind of weaving in and out between us. Sometimes we'd be actually improvising, so we'd be like avoiding collisions by inches, and it was cool, it was exciting, and it was nerve-wracking.
And then from the director's hat point of view, how do you then take what you captured and then make decisions as to what makes the film or not? Like, talk about that.
So much experimentation. I mean, we're traveling around the country right now giving free improv workshops to different improv theaters. So in Michigan, we're at the Planet Ant, where Keegan-Michael Key started. Mm-hmm. In Chicago, we're at the I.O. and Second City. In New York, we're at the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater. And Phoenix and San Francisco and all these places, we're doing workshops. And what's funny is I explained the process of making the film, and I have to say, like, the hardest thing, whenever I talk about it, the hardest thing was the editing. Mm-hmm. We shot so much footage, and you get in the edit and you go, we gotta experiment, and what we tell in the improv workshops, a lot of times I'll say, the key to creating anything is trying and failing and trying and failing. And that's the case in the edit. I mean, we tried so many versions of it that just didn't work. I mean, so many. I can't even tell you, like, we'd have these test screenings with, like, public radio listeners, and I remember this, like, second or third screening, this woman goes, I don't like it at all. And I was like, okay, what don't you like about it? I don't like the people. And I go, why don't you like the people? She goes, they're losers. And we thought that was so funny. Me and Ira Glass had this running joke for weeks in the edit. They're losers, which is, of course, kind of the point. Like, they're supposed to be losers.
Absolutely. With this movie, and then coming out on the back of Sleepwalk with Me, your first film.
Sure.
These both seem, I'm guessing here, but these both seem like very personal films to you.
They're both very personal. One's autobiographical, one is fictional.
Yes. With both of them, though, is this the kind of movie, I mean, you're kind of emerging, I mean, you've been known and became, success as a stand-up, but you're emerging as, like, a director, a writer. an actor? Are these things that
Keep talking. I like this
Here,
word.
let me read
I like this word. I like this word emerging. It's very exciting.
I'm sure that's I mean, but really, with the directing hat though, people have to take notice now after these 2 films with what you've done. Yes.
Well, you know, I'm making films that I want to see. You know what I mean? I'm making films that harken back to films that I fell in love with. You know, movies like Broadcast News and Hannah and Her Sisters and The Big Chill and Almost Famous and Beautiful Girls. I mean, movies that it feels like studios aren't really making right now. So it's up to like independent filmmakers to make these films that make you laugh and cry and hopefully think, you know. And I mean, my favorite movie experiences are when my wife and I go to a movie and we talk about it for like 6 weeks afterwards.
Yeah, for sure.
And that, to me, that's what separates TV from movies. Is with a great movie, you talk about it for 6 months, or you talk about it forever.
With some of the characters too, back to them, I want a lot of the theme of the movie too. To me, struck me as kind of like a grass is always greener.
Yeah, sure.
Is that something? I mean, even when Key's character, you know, makes it on the show, it's not all what he thought of and all of what it seems. So, talk about that. Is that a real life thing? You know, now that you've reached the level of success you've had, is the grass always greener? Is there always something more?
I think we're all fighting that all the time. I mean, I think and that goes to as it's as granular as I want that person's job, I want that person's car, I don't like that they have an in-ground pool and I have an above-ground pool. You know, like I think we all want something that someone else has. But I always have to pull myself back from that and say, would I trade my life for that person's life 1 for 1? And the answer is always no. And so you can't just cherry pick what you want from someone else's life.
Is this the style of movie that we'll see? Is this the kind of movie we'll see, or will we see Mike Birbiglia direct a Marvel blockbuster at some point?
Not that, unless it'll be Marvel presents The Neurotics, just a bunch of like neurotic. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to think anymore. You know, but it's. I may jump into different genres. I mean, one of the things I love about Woody Allen is that he really jumped around genres quite a bit. You know, it's between Sleeper and Zelig and Annie Hall. I mean, there's just such a wide spectrum of genres in there.
Mike, thank you very much.
Thank you.
This was awesome talking to you.
This is great.
All right.
Great questions.